Brazil is a very poor country. 70% of the people are living in misery. There is no food, no house, no education. But they have three hopes: to win at the lottery, to be saved by God, or to make a political revolution. There is a very popular expression in Brazil which says, God is Brazilian. Do you think so?
God must be Brazilian. But it is very unfortunate because only poor people, suffering people need a God. God is just opium. You can take the opium and forget your suffering, your misery, your poverty. So the more a country is poor, more it will be addicted with God. It is the same proportion always. More the country is happy, contented, comfortable, who bothers about God? For what? Even in the ordinary life of a man, one remembers God only when he is in misery, suffering, trouble, sick, bankrupt. When everything is going great, nobody remembers God. There is no need. God is the need of the suffering, downtrodden. So perhaps if you say 70% of Brazilians are without food, without houses, then God must be a Brazilian. God is the property of the poor. The hope of those who are living a hopeless life. And they will continue to live in poverty until they get rid of this God. So tell the Brazilians he is a Brazilian. So it is our duty to finish him. Once God is finished from the world, man need not suffer. For the simple reason, then we start functioning intelligently. There is no need for poverty, there is no need for misery, there is no need for so much sickness. There is no need for man only to live 70 years. These are just because we have not tried intelligence in living. Wherever we have tried it, we have reached heights of immense dimensions. only as far as man is concerned, we are dependent on God. It is only 300 years that science came into being. It revolted against the world and all kinds of superstitions. And within 300 years, science has given man so much that in 30,000 years, religions have not been able to provide. And this too, against the priests, against the politicians, science has contributed. If politicians and priests are not there, man can take a quantum leap. There is no barrier between man and paradise. But the priest wants people to be poor, because only the poor need him. It is a simple business ideology. The politician wants people poor because only the poor can be conditioned. They are illiterate, uneducated. And they are so much in suffering that any hope, and they are ready to buy it. It may be God, it may be communism, it may be revolution, something in the future, far away. The poor is ready to buy it. The politicians have been selling hope for thousands of years. The priests have been selling hope. And it is really strange that after such a long time, they are still doing good business. And man seems to be fast asleep without looking at the whole strategy. The priests and the politicians have to disappear from the earth. Only then the new man, rich, comfortable, skillful, creative, can come into being. So it is Brazilian's duty to kill the god. He must be there. It is the duty of all the poor people of the world to kill the god. The rich people would like him to survive. For the rich people, God is a beautiful investment. Because God creates a buffer between the rich and the poor. And because of that buffer, the rich is protected. Remove the buffer, and the rich and all his exploitation will be exposed. And then no priest can go on befooling the poor in the name of God, in the name of fate, in the name of the law of action, past lives. All kinds of things have been invented just to keep the poor, ready to be sucked by all kinds of parasites. And the poor has lived in poverty for so long that he has become accustomed of it. He accepts it as his life. He does not know what life is. So he cannot think that he is missing something. To miss something, first you have to have it. And that's the function of my communes. In every country I want my communes to live as richly, abundantly, contented, joyously, without God, without heaven, without hell, without politicians, without priests, and prove to the world that people can live without all this nonsense. And they are living far more beautifully than anybody else. Nobody on the earth is singing a song of joy. Nobody on the earth is in a state to dance. We have to create these oases in the whole desert of the earth, so people at least can see the possibility. They can also be part of this ecstasy, this pilgrimage. First, they will be hostile, because it is very much hurting to the ego to see that others have attained and you have failed. So the first reaction is that the others are pretending. Their laughter is just a make-up. Their joy, their dance is just a show business. But how long you can befool yourself by finding such explanations? People cannot go on working for 12 hours, 14 hours a day and still be able to laugh, enjoy, dance, love. Sooner or later, the outside people are bound to be attracted to our communes. Our communes have to become finally a kind of university where we teach not 3 R's but 3 L's. Love, life, laughter. And there is no other hope for the poor. Revolution has failed. In Russia, the politicians were giving them the hope that after the revolution, everything will be paradise. 60 years have passed. There is no sign of any paradise. Of course, one thing has happened. they have distributed poverty equally. And they don't allow Russian people to come in contact with the rich countries for the simple fear that if they can see how much richly, intensely, and totally people are living, then this communism has failed. It could not make them rich, it has only made them all poor, equally poor. So equality has been achieved. The classes have not disappeared. Their names have changed. It was the bourgeois class and the proletariat, the poor and the rich. Now it is the ordinary citizen and the member of the Communist Party. The member of the Communist Party has more power than any rich man ever had, is using all luxuries for himself that any rich man ever had. Is living comfortably with all technological devices at his hand. And it is only in Russia that to become a member of the Communist Party is the most difficult. In any other country, you can just become the member if you want, any moment. No qualifications, no conditions have to be fulfilled. But in Russia, to become a member of the Communist Party is a long process, long discipline, far more longer than a poor man has to travel to become rich. The distance between the hierarchy that is in power and the people is bigger in Russia than anywhere else. For the simple reason because the middle class has completely disappeared and it has left a big gap. In other societies, the society is divided not only into classes. About that, Marx is absolutely wrong. Society is divided into many steps. Those two may be the extreme steps, the poorest and the richest, but there are in between both many classes. So there is a link, and the middle class is the biggest class because on one hand it joins the poor, on the other hand it joins the super rich. In Russia, the middle class has disappeared because rich are no more there. So the rich and the middle class both have been reduced to the proletariat. Poverty is so equal that you don't feel hurt. You don't feel jealous. There is nothing to feel jealous of. Everybody is just like you. God has failed Marx has failed. And I don't give any hope. Naturally, I cannot fail. They were all giving hope. They could not fulfill the hopes. I am not giving you any hope. On the contrary, I am taking away all your hopes, all your future, so that you can live in this moment. Even if you have not much to live, still one can make this moment a paradise by small things. And if the whole humanity is convinced that this is the only moment to live, the misers will disappear on their own account, because they are not living, they are accumulating for the future. The monks and the nuns will disappear because they are not living in the moment, they are living for some heaven, some paradise somewhere. So the basic thing today is that God, which is another name of hope, revolution, which is a materialistic name for God, but they function exactly the same. Their function is to keep people intoxicated. My work is to wake people and stop taking all these opiums.